We're live now.
Music playing from another house, or is that playing from in here?
There's it's like next door. They're a bit wild now.
I didn't know if you had like a little radio.
Yeah, so it's on.
Okay, we're going.
Just before we start episode, this is episode 6, right?
Yeah.
Just before we start this episode, I just want to do a quick shout out to DJ. It's DJI. So I've got the Mic 1. They're not sold on TikTok. Mic 2s are, but they're still like a very good price. But like, as I was explaining to you earlier, the ease of use. It comes in an AirPod case essentially, which is out of there. Charges all 3 units. You plug the receiver into anything that's got Type-C or old iPhones, so anything it can plug into, and that receiver automatically acts as your headphone jack or whatever it is that you're plugging in, and then you just clip it like me and T have done here. So mine's here, yours is relatively.
My jacket here, yeah.
And that is it. You plug it in, you go. The mics feed the receiver, and then the receiver replaces the audio file on any video that you've done. It is done as quickly as that, and they are very good quality.
You can hear how good they are now and how clear they are.
Yeah, but I just wanted a shout out to that. I'm going to post this on my TikTok, and I'm going to put a link to the Mic 2. I mean, I've got the Mic 1, and they're this good, so I can't imagine how much better number 2s are. But yeah, anyone who wants to get into podcasts and wants ease of use, or you want to be doing anything mobile, I've used it for DJing videos as well. Anything like that, I'd recommend getting one of these straight away. And I think you would as well.
Yeah. Straight away. The moment I clipped this on and heard it back, I was like, okay, yeah. And seeing how quick that you just connect. I think like I said to you, one of the big things with technology stuff like this is you want that quick and easy connection of use. So when you want to start using something, split second, just this, it's set up. Instead of having to fiddle with wires and all this stuff. And it does make a big difference, especially to your workflow as well. And like your desire to want to just do the work.
Yeah, so check them out. And if you want to invest, buy some, and you're welcome for it. But yeah, anyways, episode 6.
We got a bunch of like music questions that we're going to run through. And just debate the topics of these questions. I think there's some quite broad but interesting questions based on music that I think you will also have like very varied opinions. It'll be interesting to hear your feedback on what you think of these questions and the answers as well.
Kind of like me and T we've sort of spoke behind the scenes, and even we somewhat enjoy the podcast more when we have stuff to debate about rather than me and T agreeing. Because actually, funny enough, like a bit of backstory to our friendship, but me and T rarely ever agree. But for some reason, for some reason on these podcasts, since we gotten older, we seem to.
Especially, I think it's the maturity. But when we were younger, we used to clash.
Every single night there'd be a debate about something that T didn't agree that I believed, or vice versa. But like, honestly, that you'd probably be 15 to 20% of the time we'd agree on something, but the rest of the time it's non-stop debates. But they are just funny because like what I said on the previous podcast, T is very articulated and I'm not, but I do come up with good points.
Yeah, it's just about getting the points out, and you're probably thinking in your head as it's going, you're like, I'm gonna have to try and really take him down.
But yeah, if you want to just read them out, I think there's a few on that link, and then
we'll go one at a time, and
what do you want to do? Shall I just like go off on whatever you say and then you respond, or are you gonna speak straight away?
Yeah. I'll drop the question and we'll just debate that topic straight away. But you'll start with the answer. So the first one I saw was actually a really interesting one, especially on the theme of hip hop. But it was a question of whether an artist is credible if they don't write their own songs and music.
Okay, so is that are we going to debate on whether they create their own songs and music, or is this specifically writing?
The writing?
So like having a
ghostwriter and stuff like that, which I know was a big debate when Drake started doing his diss records and stuff.
I mean, it's like, for me personally, it's that as a very broad thing. If you've got a very popular person who generally would suit doing something better than someone else, but someone who's more like lyrically minded, I don't think, me personally, I don't think there's a problem with it. I think you're just as credible because on a lot of music, like for instance Drake, Drake's lyrics aren't always amazing, but the way that Drake does things, the way that Drake sounds, the way that Drake comes across,
that's Drake,
and his brand, like is very good. Like I if I'm right in thinking that Right Hand with, is that DJ Khaled? It is, isn't it?
Or is it? That was on his own, I think.
No, 4-3, sorry. DJ Khaled. He didn't write the lyrics to that, but I couldn't imagine anyone else doing those lyrics with that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it doesn't make you any less credible. The only thing I would say is if you don't shout the person out who's giving you.
Doing it.
I think if I was to go,
So you prefer not to have like a ghostwriter, like just be straight up and be like,
transparent
these are
and
the
say-
songwriters, instead of
Yeah.
like having instead of trying to like fake like it is you.
because you got to think, like, for instance, like me, I know for a fact that I don't have a very good mic voice.
Yeah.
You know that as
Yeah.
well. I know that. I've tried music.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very good, but I've got a Brazilian accent and I can't get rid of that Brazilian
Yeah.
accent no matter what I do. So, but then I could come up with very good lyrics, I believe.
Yeah.
So, like, if I was to say to you, T, like, you sound way better, I want you to rap this song for me, and it just generally sounds better because you've got a better mic voice, like,
Yeah.
then why not? It's still a way of someone expressing themselves. But I think the issue would come from if I said, T, make me some lyrics, or T, here's your lyrics, and then you just completely ignored me, out like removed me from the equation and made this and was like, yeah, I made this song, look how talented I am.
Yeah,
You know
because
what I
then
mean?
it's like it's that almost like plagiarism almost. It's like you're stealing someone's thing. You
Yeah.
gotta give credit where credit's due. And I think it's an interesting discussion because like years and years ago, I probably would have leaned more on the side of you got to write your own stuff, especially in hip hop. But I do kind of agree with what you were saying actually, and I think it depends on the artist as well and how they portray themselves. Like Drake's never really portrayed himself as that guy to be like, you know, hardcore rapper in the sense of I write my own stuff and all this.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is if it's a diss record, I'd say you'd want to write your own stuff. And I think
Oh,
that's
100%.
I think that's what Drake didn't do, and that's why people started to, because I think he did have a ghostwriter for those like Meek Mill disses.
That Meek Mills, yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the weirdest situation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember reading stuff and it was like, apparently they were making diss tracks in the same hotel as each other. And
yeah, and like all this
but-
extra stuff. But like, I think there's different layers to it. But what I would say is, given like my knowledge of music and all what I've learned, like just studying music and stuff like that, and just the industry and knowing how that kind of works, is such a common thing. And I think it's more of a common thing than people realize.
Yeah.
So like, it almost, that in my opinion makes the discussion kind of, it's almost like I expect it. Like I'm never like surprised when I hear it. Like I think there was a debate I actually seen recently with Beyonce's album that just came out. Someone shared a screenshot and they're like, there's too many songwriters on this, and it was probably like 10 people. But another thing I think people don't consider is sometimes artists may credit someone on a songwrite that didn't necessarily write the song, but I mean, sometimes it's like someone that's just in the room, in the studio at the time. It might be a case of you're in the studio with 5 friends writing music. You're struggling on a bar. Your friend says 2 words inspires the thought. You're right. I'm gonna put you on a song credit because you're gonna get paid off of this because you gave that little input. It's not them writing the whole song. You just helped me with those 2 bars.
But then the other thing as well is there's so many talented people in this world, but there are generally people who struggle to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
There are generally people who struggle to be in the limelight. But their talent is still talent.
That's the thing.
And that talent needs to be used. So like if there is someone who doesn't struggle to be in the limelight, doesn't struggle to be out there, then why not use their talent? But as long as you are crediting them.
Yeah, and then they're getting paid by it, and like
I know so many people that are like they're anxious and they're not good in the public eye and stuff like that, but they are so talented. Do you know
that
what I
you
mean?
still want to, and you still want to
Yeah.
express that.
Like
I think a good example.
Abdi's a good example.
Yeah, and like
he does well to push himself out there, but he's not the most confident person.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the highest self-esteem. You know that, but he is very good.
Yeah, the
at making
talent's
lyrics.
there, and it's
and he's very good at he's very good at writing and stuff. But he just, well, A, he doesn't have the time because of everything else that he wants to do, and B, he doesn't have that superior confidence to like, portray himself and him out there. Like, I remember so many times on like nights out when we were doing pre-drinks, I'd be like, Abdi, do a freestyle, like show everyone. He'd be like, nah, I don't want it. I'm like, come
but
on,
you
come on.
know the talent's
Yeah,
there. And it's the
so-
same with him dancing or something like that. At that time, it would be like, Abdi, dance. I know you can dance, Abdi.
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
you got the ability to Chris Brown your way through this club and
all day.
clean up all the women in here and grab their attention off
But
your
then he
dance
wouldn't.
moves.
Oh, nah,
yeah,
nah,
yeah.
nah,
And it's
nah,
like
they're not gonna
it's
like
like
him straight away. Like
it's like Abdi, if I could dance like you, man, I'd be.
I'd be everywhere, bro.
But there's a few things like when I think of this songwriting thing again. If you're thinking of a Drake, someone like a Drake is going to be a very busy person. They're not necessarily always going to have the time to stop and let me write.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's a long process, and like they might not have the time to really slow down enough to be able to think and write. And another thing is in music, you often get reference tracks a lot, where you'll get such and such as record. I think a good example with Drake as well is Party Next Door. So like he's on Drake's label.
Recognizing.
And like he's a very popular artist in his own right, but he's a great songwriter. So he wrote Work for Rihanna and Drake.
Yeah.
And it's like he's not on the song. And I think there was a reference track of that first where it leaked and people heard that he was singing the song. And that's what often happens. You'll get an artist or just a songwriter, even I think his name was Quentin Miller, which is the ghostwriter that wrote for Drake, where you'll get those tracks. So Drake will get sent P&D singing Work. And it's like, right, I've made the song. This is the song. This is how it's going to be sung. This is the melody. These are the lyrics. And he'll pass it on to Drake for Drake to then just do the same thing, but in his way over the top. And it's like, that happens a lot in music. And I don't think people are aware of that. And that's where it's that creative collaboration. And like P&D will be getting paid off of that song. So he's getting his credit in that regard. And he may be one of those people where, because his whole persona throughout his whole career really has been quite obscure. He reminds me of like The Weeknd when he first started out, but not to that same degree where he makes the music, everyone loves it, but he kind of stays hidden. So like I can imagine he might be the type of person where he's happy he's still doing what he's passionate about and what he enjoys, which is the songwriting, and he's happy to do that, pass it on to Drake. Drake can like present the music out, perform it, He's still getting paid off it, and he's still doing what he loves to do creatively.
That's it. I think as long as there's a recognition and reward for the talent, I don't think there's a problem. That's what I'm going to say.
And I agree with that.
Arguably, though, you could even say as well, like someone like yourself, you're like you don't really like being around people for
It was like
yourself, and obviously the stuff that you come up with your music like critiques and stuff. Like sometimes I read it, and I'm like bloody hell, like I wouldn't even be able to put those words together. But even you, it's like now let's say for instance you could take those words and get someone vocally making those and pushing them out and getting a wider range. You'd probably be happy with that.
Yeah, it's like, and like you said, it's all about the credit really. So as long as the credit's being done, whether it be that outside credit of making it known that this person wrote it, like outwardly, which I don't think you need to necessarily do because everyone could go on Spotify and check the credits now.
Yeah.
So as long as their name's there, that means they're going to get paid from it. So they're getting their fair due. Whereas I don't know how it works with ghostwriters and how they get paid, but that's more like secretive.
I can imagine they're getting a lot.
But like, if it's like, but then that's the thing, because even Kendrick Lamar and the Kanye West is a good example. Like, you ever look at his song credits, you'll often see like long list of names on the songwriters thing, and it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is the music itself. The music sounds good, don't really care unless the artist is trying to brag about that, and then you're lying,
or look how lyrically
like
talented I am and stuff like that. Like,
I don't think it's as important as some people make it.
I don't think so. So what are we getting? Next question. So we're settling just so we can put our final answer to them, so then they can debate. We're saying as long as the recognition was there and the music sounds good, and you're not acting as if it was your talent,
then I think it's okay. Because it's like there's an art to songwriting, and songwriters, like you said, there's some people that will just want to songwrite.
Yeah.
Next one, this is an interesting one. So whether the use of auto-tune is acceptable or not.
Is that if you can sing, or is that just in general?
Both.
I think again, it's all dependent on how you're portraying yourself. Now, if you portrayed yourself as some amazing singer, but your song is auto-tuned like
crazy
to God knows how much, and like you absolutely refuse to prove that you've got the vocal talent outside of that, I think that's a problem. But then like someone like Travis, he has made his music around around auto-tune as that being how he sounds. And like T-Pain can sing, and he's done music without the auto-tune, but he generally, like for me personally, he's got an amazing voice, but his music does sound better when he's got auto-tune on, because that's what I'm used to. That's what I'm used to hearing.
And like, I'd use Travis as an example because he's one of my favorite artists and I listen to him a lot. How I describe it, because I think there's a stigma around auto-tune now and it was always there, but even more so now, where it's like, oh, someone using auto-tune, oh, they have no talent, oh, they're cheating, oh, they're trying to sing. Not every person using auto-tune is trying to sound like they can sing, and Travis is an example. And this is where I start to see auto-tune is like an instrument. And the way Travis Scott uses it is more like an instrument, not a tool. Because Travis Scott never uses auto-tune to make him sound like he can sing with a good singing voice. He's using it as an instrument to create that like psychedelic vocal or that trance-like vocal, because he's giving you, he's using it in a way where no real human voice can make the sounds he's trying to make with it, and it creates the vibe and the setting. So when people are using it in that sense, I don't see an issue with it at all. And like, one thing I'd like to say is like, autotune probably gets used by every single person in the industry. Like, Taylor Swift probably uses autotune. Rihanna uses autotune. And like, it's not necessarily used in the way of a Travis Scott or a T-Pain, or even like someone who just can't sing at all. All those people, like a Taylor Swift, she can sing, but naturally, your voice is never like always perfect. So naturally, she might do a recording, and one little vocal might be a bit off key. So they'll use the autotune just to sharpen it up. And it's like, instead of having to record the thing 20 times just to get that one little mishap fixed, it's like, no, we'll just throw autotune on it and fix it.
One thing I would say is I don't agree with artists. I think if you are going to use autotune, regardless of the sound that you're trying to make, I would say you have to be able to hold a note.
Yeah.
I'd say if you go on that and you absolutely cannot hold any notes and you're literally just using autotune to get by, I think if you can't hold a note,
you're a fraud. Because
you should definitely not be in music. Personally, that's me. You maybe go to rap.
Because the
Can't hold a single note and you're using autotune to literally
fix it all.
Specifically using autotune to try and sing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Then
I think
because
I
you'll get exposed because once it's time to get to the shows, people are gonna find out, and they obviously do auto-tune the mics now. But like, still, you'll get exposed, and people look. I think that's where people look for even more. Like, especially if you are portraying yourself as that singer, if you're going to a live show, people are coming to see you sing. So if you're a singer and you're using autotune at a live show, people aren't going to be happy about it. And that I can understand. Like, if I'm going to see Chris Brown, well, Chris Brown might not be the best example because Chris Brown can sing. But, like, if you're going to see someone who you believe could sing and they're portraying themselves as a singer, and then you find out at the show, oh, wait, it's heavily reliant on this auto-tune, or the mic goes off all of a sudden and suddenly you realise it's sounding atrocious.
Actually, a little side note, whilst you're on the topic of Chris Brown, this might be an interesting question. You might agree with me, but I was in the toilets of the club the other night, going to the toilet in between my set, and there was a Chris Brown song on, and whenever I go into the toilet or whatever, I always just sing songs.
Yeah.
This is what I do. And this guy started singing with me, like, this Chris Brown song, and he went, "Man, I love Chris Brown, but he's just doing anything to stay relevant." And I was like, I don't think I agree with that. Like, I don't think I think Chris is big enough to be able to just creatively, he has that creative freedom to do whatever he wants. But this man was adamant that Chris Brown is just doing whatever he can to stay relevant. And I was like, nah, like, I'd put Chris Brown up at the same level as Drake.
Yeah, but what I don't get about that statement is like, but what's the exact, like, what's his example?
We were singing Sensational.
Yeah.
So you see how, like, Chris Brown obviously went into Afrobeats now.
Yeah.
Then he was like, oh, he went into hip hop, he did this. I was like, no, but like, Chris Brown is like another Drake.
Yeah, like Chris Brown's always been kind of broad like that. Like
he can rap, he can sing, like he's got his the places where he excels.
Yeah.
But he can do it all if he really wanted to. And I was just sat there like, nah, I don't think I agree with
it's
you.
a weird statement as well, because it's like, you say like, oh, he's doing everything to stay relevant, but it's like, well, every artist wants their music heard for a start.
He turned around and
it's
he was like, oh, he hasn't done anything like original of his own in ages. Like, and I think I kind of get where he's coming from with that in the fact of like, when you think of Drake, there's been, Drake has made Drake music.
Yeah.
Whereas Chris hasn't made any Chris music.
It's almost like he's trying to,
I agree with
styles of music and the types of songs.
It's just whatever becomes really popular, Chris will bring out that genre type thing. But
then what was, because I'm trying to think now, like, if you were to look at what that guy just said there, what is Chris Brown's original, like, what would that be? Because
like, I would say
he's always had the influences of, you know, of an Usher or something like that in his music, and he's had different styles.
To use like an example though, for instance, like back in the Run It days, that was the hip hop obviously era where but then if you looked at like the hip hop that came out around about the same time as him, his was different. Whereas he is now making Afrobeats music, which does sound just the same as all Afrobeats music, or when Questions come out, that sounded just the same as all. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? So I do kind of.
But I wonder if that guy's seeing it in the sense that just because it's a, because I feel like people feel that way as soon as there's a genre switch.
The genre, I understand the genre switch.
I think Chris Brown, well, not you. I mean, like the guy who made that comment, like.
Well, he was mad. Because
like Chris,
he was like
proper passionate, like
PP and hat. He was mad, bro.
Well, like
I was just like, whoa.
Because I'm like thinking, like, my
put that away before we continue this
pure like thought of what Chris Brown is is like that, the Run It Days and the Kiss Kiss and what's that other album he had after that?
See, for me, like my OG
Like you
Chris
know when he
was
did like No Air and like what was the album after that? Oh,
like me personally, where I'd put Chris Brown top, my top tier of Chris Brown was his collab with Tiger, was it Tiger?
oh yeah,
Did it?
fan of a fan.
Yeah,
that, yeah, that's my.
that was my
I love
top
that album.
tier. That was like the She Going Up,
Yeah,
B&M.
he's got that one with 50 Cent on there. Like,
Yeah, like
those are just non-stop
and
club bangers. Like those.
that's what I would say is Chris. Chris is where he goes on a song and he'll do a hybrid of rap and singing.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say Chris was. I'd say whenever you heard a Chris
That's
song,
his more unique, original. That's
come on now,
what
use
he
young,
brings.
do this, but
Yeah, and then start
go,
singing.
"But
And-
your girl,
yeah,
girl,
yeah,
like
yeah,
that," all in the
yeah,
same
yeah,
song. Whereas
I
like
know what
now
you're
it's like
saying,
Sensational's just a singing slow R&B, like
Yeah.
no guidance.
But then I'd
that's
also
singing.
say those women, like he's really good at doing them songs that the women gravitate towards, like
Women
them,
gravitate
them
no matter what
bedroom
he does,
songs,
bro.
them bedroom songs. Like you know, you know them songs that will play at the end of a club night. You know when it's like we were winding them
Getting ready
down
for the
yeah. Them songs like that's what I say. That's Chris Brown's signature as well. I'd
Yeah.
say because
So
he
that's
made
what I mean.
loads of those over like a decade.
I think that's where I agreed with him in the fact that like I do get it. Like he hasn't brought out a song that you go, you know what? Nah, Chris made that song, but he's still here.
But
and
yeah,
he
I
always
wouldn't-
will be. But he has when he does his genre, like for instance, Sensational. I wouldn't put that any different in that specific genre to the rest of the songs in that genre.
Yeah.
Whereas when you think of some of his other songs, like that Fan of the Fan album, I would put all of that music different to that of like Body Language and
Yeah,
AO
yeah.
and I know there are like some of his songs
But
as well,
those-
but Don't Tell 'Em.
Yeah.
They stood out from those.
Yeah, because
was
they
slightly-
had its own
do
unique
you know what I
quality.
mean? That's why.
But then, even to what that guy's point was originally, is like, even the songs that do stretch out a bit of Afrobeat, I don't think he's doing it to stay relevant. I think he's doing it because he just wants to do that type of music. Because I don't think Chris Brown needs to stay relevant in that regard. Because like, there's enough he has enough fans that are still sticking with him that whatever he puts out, they're gonna listen. And I don't think he's chasing a chart hit or nothing.
but
So
that's the thing. Chris has never chased. So
Yeah.
that's where I didn't agree because I was like, I don't think Chris ever will have to chase. I reckon Chris could literally go and do a cover of Jerry Sprunger by Tory Lanez, and that song would be a
they're
hit.
popular and
And
people
he
like
wouldn't
it.
care,
Yeah,
like,
like he's
and,
got
like-
his fan base and they're still quite loyal to him. So I don't think.
What's your views on my opinion that Kendrick's better than J. Cole?
Oh, I've always thought that.
I mean,
but the only thing I would say.
Mate, when I put the video, I was like, this is gonna be. Well, I put that video, the reel up.
Yeah.
I thought this was gonna be like a half decent, like back and forth. Mate, J. Cole cleared the comments.
The
bro.
only thing I'll say is
Not
like,
one person but Kendrick, not one.
the only thing I'll say is recently J. Cole has kind of he's been sharpening his pen, but
Yeah, but has Kendrick really come with anything recently?
that's what I mean. Like so,
Do you know
like,
what I mean?
so like,
But you can't really say
but that's
he's-
what people have been judging it
J.
on
Cole's
because they're
just-
like, oh, J. Cole's been present for the past few years.
Yeah.
But then that's what's made people so disappointed that he's back down from it
Even
now.
when I was
because
doing that video, I was like, oh, Wet Dreams really good. But then I was like, Mad City.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Then Role Models,
But
good. But then Humble.
I've
I was like-
always like Kendrick for me. His album run from
I personally feel like Kendrick is to say more cultured isn't the right word.
No, I know
his,
what you
his
mean.
music
is more like culturally in tune and
yeah.
more important.
Whereas J. Cole is like lyrically he is clear.
Yeah.
He's very good, and his music's always really good. I think I don't know if I think it was J. Cole's verse. Do you remember a song called Blessed that come out? It was like Big Sean, J. Cole, I think, and Drake.
Oh, you're thinking of
Way
up
up,
on
I
Bless.
feel blessed.
Yeah, I think it's called Blessings
Is
or
that,
something like that.
is that J. Cole's in that, isn't it?
No.
Is he
That
not?
was only Drake and it was Drake
There's
and
three.
Big Sean, and then there was another version that had Kanye on it.
Oh, Kanye.
Yeah.
Because like for some reason I don't know why I always think that that's J. Cole,
Go on.
but no, I've
Like
really
Cole's feature run in recent years, like last year, every feature Cole was on, he was bodying them all. Like he
I think it's the same. It's the same. I have this opinion about Lil Wayne and
Yeah.
J. Cole. I think they excel in features rather than their own music.
yeah, I mean, I'd
If I
probably
was to
say
tell
that.
you about the standouts, like for Lil Wayne,
Like
and
I
stuff,
still love Lil Wayne front to back and all his solo music, but I can understand what you're saying because Lil Wayne probably was like the pioneer
The
of that
feature,
thought
yeah.
about someone coming on a feature and bodying it and
and I
like
think J.
taking
Cole's
over.
the same. Whereas Kendrick, I couldn't turn around to you right now and tell you of a feature and a song that Kendrick's feature on that I really like his verse. But I could tell you Kendrick's song.
I've got a few for Kendrick, but I know what you mean anyway.
you know,
'Cause I'd still
standout. I mean, like if I was to say to
Oh,
you
yeah,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
what do you love about
There's
Kendrick?
one-
You're not
there's
gonna go,
one.
oh yeah,
Oh no!
Would you?
There's
See, I wouldn't.
there's a few because there's a song called Nostalgia with Pusha T and Kendrick, came out 2013. His verse on that is one of the best rap verses I've ever heard. Like,
Is it?
It's the lyricism, but like it's the
So you'd put that in your
it's-
top?
verses ever. Like, yeah, because
See,
it's got
so,
he's
yeah.
got like triple entendres, double entendres. Like he's got certain wordplay in that where he's like speaking on 3 different things with the same bar, and it's like really smart, and the whole verse is like telling a story.
Yeah. See,
there's
I would say my top 3, Kendrick. I'd probably have to put the tip top King Kunta.
Oh yeah.
And then I go Element, and then probably Mad City.
God, I struggle to pick a top 3. So I know all right is definitely because the debate
Was that Kent Jones?
that was Kendrick on To Pimp a Butterfly. So we gonna be alright.
Oh, that
and
one.
I had Pharrell
I'm
singing
thinking
on
of the other one. I'm thinking of like the clubby ones that you.
Oh right, yeah.
Because that's one place that I would say that I wouldn't I don't think you would see J. Cole anywhere near as much, but you don't see J. Cole as much in clubs.
Yeah.
Whereas Kendrick, for some reason, you do. I play J. Cole in clubs, but like for instance, I don't think I'd be able to drop Role Models in the club flat on its own. But I've got a remix of Role Models on top of People by Libyanka.
Yeah.
Not my remix, it's another DJ's remix, which I wish I could give him credit for right now. Talking about the credit thing before.
Yeah.
I'll credit in the comments of it, but it's really good, and it's like you think it's going to be People I've been drinking, but it isn't. It goes however his thing comes in. One time for my LA.
Oh yeah, one time for my LA hoes.
It's brilliant. But I don't know if like how many songs I could drop of J. Cole's.
Compared to Kendrick, I could see Kendrick.
Whereas
more
Kendrick, you could
Mad City straight away.
Mate,
like
you see all of the perfect thing about Kendrick songs. You don't even have to play the verse.
yeah.
You could play just the acapella. Of
Yeah,
it. If I was a clip.
Yeah. People will still know it, and they're
So I
regurgitating it. Like,
I think Kendrick's more clear for clubs, but that might be why I prefer him.
Yeah.
That's why I thought.
For me, it was like, because I remember I was still in school when they both started to come up, and I remember like gravitating towards them both back then, and I just it's the same thing with Drake, where I just love the fact that I've in real time been able to see those artists come from like the bottom and then see them come right to the top and just see that whole journey in real time. And like for Kendrick, he started off, it was very like lyrical, and he still is very lyrical, and like the flow stood out. But for me, it's the actual bodies of work. I think his albums are better than J. Cole's albums. There's probably only like
you
two.
see them as projects, don't you?
Yeah, like there's only like 2 J. Cole albums that I like really like, which is Born Sinner, which I think is a underrated album, and then 2014 Forest Hills Drives. The other albums, I like some of the songs on them, but I don't necessarily like the whole album as a whole. Whereas a Kendrick, what's he done? 4 now. Well, 4 main albums and a couple ones before he made his first studio one. All of those projects I think are really strong, like bodies of work, like Good Kid, Mad City, the storytelling on that of like his upbringing through Compton and all of that, really good. The production. And then the other thing I like about Kendrick, and Cole did it to a degree, but not much as Kendrick. Every album's like a different style or vibe. Like the sound is just different. Like To Pimp a Butterfly is very jazz influenced and very, it's pulling from other genres to create that. And I think that's why some people have issues with it, because they're like, they might have a much more narrow-minded view of how they like rap music. So they're just not naturally gravitating towards it. And then Damn was just, I don't even know how to describe Damn. Like that's such a abstract album, because the beats are very different song to song on Damn. And the themes are very different. And then you've got Mr. Morale, which a lot of people didn't like, but I like the album, but I understand that like a lot of people, it's not the type of album you'll just listen to. Like you wouldn't just like casually listen to it, I don't think, because the material of the lyrics is so, a lot of it's about trauma, and it's so deep that it's not the thing you just casually, oh yeah, I want to listen to that song about him talking about processing his trauma. Like it's not the type of thing you just put on to catch a vibe.
I think an artist that does that very, very well, one of my favourite artists actually is Chance the Rapper. I feel like all of his albums give a different vibe.
Because he's,
that Colouring Book.
Book 1, that
was, that's one of my favourite albums of all time.
I remember when that was a big album when it dropped, and he's got that one with, what was that one? Is it No Problem? The one with Lil Wayne or something like that?
What, if
I'm sure it's called No Problem. If I ain't going in, you don't want no problem.
That one's got
2 Chainz
Kanye
on as well,
right?
I think it's Wayne and 2 Chainz in it. Let me double check.
Who is it? There's a song on that album that's got Kanye in it as well. I'm pretty sure it is that one. No Problem. And it just
No Problem's Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz. Kanye's on All We Got.
All We Got. That's it. Yeah. Oh, that one's good. Oh, is that? Yeah, because that's got like it's got like a choir piece in it. Oh mate, that's
Yeah,
that's
because
such a good album.
he blended that really well.
He's really
Chance, when he
like
first
what
came
actually
out.
got me onto him was I used to watch this thing called it was called like desktop mini concerts or something or like
Tiny Desk.
tiny desk concerts.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
and
was
they've
on
got
it,
the little live
and
bands.
he done Juke Jam, All We Got, and No Problem.
Yeah, those performances are really good when you see it on like the.
But like I
Tiny
was
Desk.
like, oh, I really want to go listen to this song. So then I was like, I really liked the way he did it on that.
that?
And I went and listened to it, and I was like, this is nowhere near what he did
done
on
on
that.
that.
But they're both really good. I was just,
So I first heard him when he released the mix. I think it was like one of his second or third mixtape. It was Acid Rap. But that was the mixtape that like, made him popular originally. I think that came out in like 2013. And that was more just like rap. But he was doing that Drake thing like back when it was still kind of new, where it was that rapping and singing, like rapping with then like a melody on the chorus. And there was a few songs on that mixtape Acid Rap that like if I hear them now, it's like takes me back to that time when I was like
takes you back.
18, 19, 20, like.
Oh, songs about take you back. I know this is like a massive tangent, but like it's alright because we're on it. Massive songs that take you back, right? I don't know why this always does remind me. Run This Town by Rihanna.
Oh yeah.
It takes you back to Left 4 Dead 2 on the 360.
It's weird how
Do you remember
music.
that game?
Yeah.
Like, and I just like
Did they ever have the song in the trailer or something like that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like the only thing that like so there's two songs that would immediately take me back. There's a song called Beautiful by Eminem. It's like lately I've been hard to reach. Have you heard
Was
that
that
one?
off Relapse or what album was Recovery?
The same album
I
that
think it
had
was
Not
Recovery.
Afraid on.
Yeah, Recovery. Yeah.
And that song takes me back to Modern Warfare 2.
It's because it's the same time, innit? They come out at the exact same
But
time.
Eminem is obviously now like massively associated to a lot of the Call of Duty launch trailers, isn't he?
Yeah.
He seems to do it all the time. Because what was it? Was it Berserk?
Yeah, he did that one.
The most recent one, the Modern Warfare 3, was that is it Till I'm Gone?
I don't know if I heard the song, but I remember hearing that he did something with it.
Yeah. But like
And he did the theme song for the Venom films, which was really fun.
Venom.
Literally.
It takes you back to Beautiful. Takes you back to Modern Warfare 2. Like I don't know why, but I can literally, and it's almost, if that song plays, I could fall into a massive daydream and just
of that time.
vision. Left 4 Dead 2, mate. I remember I was playing. I used to play the song to get into Left 4 Dead 2. And I remember one time I was playing it, and it goes to the bit where it's like, feel it coming, and all I could hear, because obviously on the Xbox you used to have it where you could play your MP3.
On top of the game,
And all of a sudden, as she's singing that, I could hear some crying, and there was one of the witches.
And like you'll always remember those moments.
It's just like, mate, honestly, the biggest amount of nostalgia I could ever get.
I find it really special, like music. I always have that with music where I can hear an album and like it would take me straight back to that moment. Like one song, and it's quite relevant to what we're talking about. It's one of my favorite songs and this is actually one of my favorite Kendrick songs, is Poetic Justice. That's on Good Kid, Mad City. That's ironically with Drake, so that was when they were actually okay. And like that song takes me straight back to when I was 18, which is when Good Kid, Mad City, because Good Kid, Mad City came out literally like 2 weeks after I turned 18, and that was that time where like everyone was like from school was kind of like branching out, you're becoming adults. And I just remember there's a lot of house parties going on then. So that whenever I hear that song, it just takes me back to the house parties of that time.
Yeah.
And just like that whole vibe.
House parties.
And like, that's like a lost thing of like your youth. And like any song from around that time when I was like, it's either when I was like 13, 14, 15, that's my Lil Wayne time where I was like listening to Lil Wayne all the time. So anytime I listen to his older albums and mixtapes like that, it takes me back to then. And like how that inspired me to want to make music and like to write raps and stuff. If it's 50 Cent, that's like I'd say 50 Cent's the first like rapper that really made me like I used to listen to rap music when I see it on the music channels and I still like it and I recognize the songs. But 50 Cent was the one where I like really honed in on him, Get Rich or Die Trying, when I first heard that album, and I was like reciting the words and all that stuff.
You know, that's probably somewhere that me and you would never agree, but I do not rate 50 Cent's lyrical ability. Like, if I was to, like, you're different. This is why it's so interesting between me. This is why we're very good for podcasts. It's specifically about music. But me personally, I could name off probably 10, 12 of 50 Cent's choruses, word for word. But I could not give you a single 50 Cent verse. I don't know any of them, bro, because I don't think they're any good. And I don't think a lot of people do. So I think 50 Cent has been made because what 50 Cent did very, very well was he honed in on the intro of a song so you knew it was a 50 song. And the chorus, it absolutely hammered it, like Many Men. Chorus really good. Candy Shop, just a little bit. PIMP. But then when he actually goes into the verse, I couldn't tell you what he says.
See, I feel like I can kind of understand what you're saying, although I disagree. I only disagree because I listen to 50 Cent so much, I know those verses.
Yeah.
But like in a broad thing, like aside from in the club, I can see how more people wouldn't necessarily. And then they'll start mumbling. And then they'll start mumbling.
They just walk off. Yeah. Just go get a drink. Like, and that for me personally, that's the reason, because like I do know lyrics, I do know verses. There's a lot of people I do know, but they have to stand out for me. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't put 50 in my best lyricists. I definitely put him in the best rappers.
I wouldn't even put him top 5.
What, like rappers?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Well, I'd say top 5 is pretty tight, but
I put him top 10.
He's top 10 for me. But then what I would say is that based on the music or the success?
Yeah, but the success, you can't fault 50's success.
Because I think like 50's, I think people have forgotten, and I think it's a generational thing as well, because I think there is now a new generation that have just naturally grown up and seen 50 Cent as like Power and the producer and the thing, because that's what they saw him to be.
I've never seen Power either. So like,
I've only seen the first like 3 seasons and I got bored of it. But
I watched 50 in like one movie, I can't remember what it was, and it was bad, bro. Like,
his
acting was horrendous.
Yeah, he's not a good actor and he's kept trying it.
But he has got a lot of firsts. Like, if I'm right in thinking, 50's like one of the only artists, musical artists, to ever make a game.
That's what I mean. But that's what, let me just break this down. Anyone that's watching that was like born past 2005 or something like that.
Nah, 2000 I'd say.
Or 2000, yeah. If you just weren't there for that 50 year, I need to describe what this was like. So this is, when 50 dropped, he had like the highest selling first week for a debut album in hip hop or potentially all genres.
And that was for a long time.
But like, and like, I think it's still the same thing now, because that was back when they sell like almost like 1 million records. And like in a week, which is crazy when you even think of that. Like when Lil Wayne did 1 million first week, that's 1 million. That's not people listening on Spotify and stream. That's 1 million people going out and buying a CD. Like, but anyway,
HMV days.
50 like emerged in 2003, and what he did and what he like pioneered in hip hop and music to an extent in general was the brand. Like he came, so it was, you had his music, you had the group of G Unit, you then had the clothing line of G Unit, you then had the brand deals. I think he had brand deals with, I was going to say Reebok, but I don't think he did. That might have been Jay-Z. But he had brand deals elsewhere. Then he pops out with a video game. Like, this is PS2 era. Like, you might have, there were like video games that, oh no, it's 50 Cent Bulletproof. Bulletproof. Then he came out with a movie. That's what I mean. Like, he had it all. Like,
that was it. It's
the acting in his own film.
It's that stupid thing where he takes his daughter's going out and he takes him into the garage and there's all those like prison guys in there.
Oh no, that's Den of Thieves. I think Den of Thieves.
That, bro.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Mate, do you know what it is? Obviously, because you got shot.
Yeah.
He can't move his jaw properly.
Yeah, so he's like, he mumbles. Yeah.
What are you saying, 50? You ain't even got, your body ain't even built. There ain't no expression on your face. But
yeah, that era, like I remember that so fondly, because I remember like the cool thing about that game was like, and it's crazy because like no one's really done it since, like a rapper on their own, like been able to just, he did 2 games as well. I didn't play the second one. The other one's called Blood on the Sand. That came out on 360.
Do you think 50 would be as big as he was if he wasn't shot and survived?
Do you know what I think he'd still be huge, but maybe not, because like that was part of the allure.
Would he be huge, or would he have just done very well? Do you know what I mean?
No, I still think of him been huge, because I think
I would probably put him in the same level as that of like.
But what I would say is it gives the
Ja Rule.
Well, that's fair. They had like the biggest beef. Like they hated each other.
Yeah, but I'd put him where Ja Rule is now.
If he didn't get shot.
Because you got to think stuff like that is massive.
I feel like the hit.
He wouldn't have been able to make a movie.
No, but he still would have. It's still the hits though. He still would have had the like.
Yeah, but then Ja Rule's got some very good hits.
He has, but then I feel like. Do
you know what I mean?
It definitely contributed to his success. I feel like he wouldn't
have been able to make the game. He wouldn't have been able to make the movie without it.
Nah, I still think he could have. He could have.
Without him getting shot.
No, but I don't think
It's called Bulletproof.
The game's as soon as you said that it's about him getting shot, I literally thought that Bulletproof.
And then the movie is literally about him getting shot and surviving.
Yeah, but I don't think those two things are like. I think 50 Cent's music on its own that put him where he was only able to do what he did because of how good the music was in the first place. But then it's a question of how much of it definitely it adds to his credibility, so it definitely helps because it's like that whole gangster rap thing. And there's a lot of rappers that will talk about street life that have never been involved in street life. So like
born in Canada.
So like when you have been shot 9 times, it's like, oh, you cannot dispute this guy's been involved in it. Yeah. Like this man's taking bullets.
And that's why when I hear Many Men,
like you know that's authentic.
That guy's real. He's real.
He's been through it. That's the story of his life. Like he's not just talking.
He's the same. Like whenever I hear Ice Cube, I know what he was about.
Yeah, he's been through it.
Yeah, like NWA, anything from that, because like. I mean, I did get educated from the movie and then watched a lot of it afterwards. But I've got a newfound appreciation to their music after seeing
the story and what they came through. Yeah,
and like even when I used to watch Ice Cube play in movies like Ride Along, I used to think, why has he got this persona of this like really angry?
Yeah, and then you get it when you realize
his brand is
that. Yeah, you guy, that's him.
But
like another thing with 50, just to finish off the story of like that time, is what was so cool about that game. Other than the fact that you could play as your favorite rapper, and Eminem was in it, and Dr. Dre was in it, and they all had little parts. It was like if they were all in a movie almost, but just in a game.
Yeah.
And like the fact that you can run around with like AK-47 as 50 Cent and start shooting people. But he had exclusive music in the game. He had like hundreds of songs exclusively in. So it was like buying a new album almost. You buy the game, you play the game, you get new songs.
He did so well with it.
One thing 50 did as well for music, for hip hop, is he helped pioneer the mixtape. Like, he was one of those first artists that really did, like, mixtapes. And, like, that's how he actually initially got... So when I found out about him was when Get Rich or Die Trying dropped. Yeah. So he was already at that point of the album. But that story beforehand, like, the couple years before, it was the mixtapes is how he kind of got his name out and about. And, like,
he started that,
for
like £1.
Yeah, like, so, like, I'd say, like, Lil Wayne kind of evolved what a mixtape could be, but 50 Cent almost, like, started that.
Yeah.
And, like... So in hip hop history, like I feel like he's a bit forgotten, but like I'd say he's definitely a really important pioneer of hip hop. Like I don't think you could talk about history of hip hop as it comes from the late 90s into the 2000s era and not talk about 50 Cent because he did so much in that era. But one thing I respect about him as well, compared to Eminem as well, is he knew when to stop. Like he dropped his third album, Curtis, in 2007. That was one where he went up against Kanye, and they're like, oh, whoever, they did like it in Rolling Stone magazine, whoever does the most sales.
Yeah, it was like a debt, wasn't it?
And like, to be fair to 50, he didn't uphold because he did drop more music after, but he did technically retire after. Like, he did say, oh, Kanye outsells me, I'm retiring. And Kanye did beat him.
I think that's always going to be the case.
But yeah, because Kanye was more broad. Like, the music speaks to a broader audience for Kanye. It's not just gangster rap music.
Kanye
it's just broader music.
And
like...
He's very good.
And that was before Kanye was controversial as well. That was Kanye's mum was still alive. He was still happy. That was before he had that kind of little break mentally that kind of just spiraled out. But then 50 stopped after that, really. He dropped an album in 2009 as well, but it didn't get the attention that he usually got. And then after that, he dropped the odd song every now and again, maybe the odd mixtape and the odd feature. But he was then focused on acting and producing. Whereas Eminem...
Yeah, I wish he stopped that.
I think Eminem tarnished his legacy a bit. Because he continued. Because, like, Recovery and Relapse weren't as good as his classic albums, but they were still, like, credible. Like, it's still, like, good music.
Marshall Mathers was really good as well.
Yeah, like the original one or the second one?
Both.
Yeah.
So the second one, if I'm right in thinking, is the one that's got the song with Kendrick.
Yeah. The Love Game or something like that?
Love Game, yeah. And that is a brilliant song. The first one's the one with Berserk.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah.
Berserk's on the second one as well, I think. That was that time.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe it's only part 2 I like then. So I like Berserk. There was the Rap God was on that album as well, right?
Yeah.
So I really, really, really liked Eminem's sort of like rock rap type era. Like
that was the one where he did it. Yeah.
I call it.
It has like the Beastie Boys influence.
Might not even be like rock rap.
But yeah, it's like that kind of more. I know what you mean.
On a band, like
but then
the thing that ruined 50 for me, right, was I went and watched him at Parklife 2 years ago, and he performed all of his songs but with a live band, and it was horrid, bro. It was horrid.
See, I don't know about that, but when I saw him last year when he did the O2 thing.
You saw that
was incredible.
So he did all of his music, and it is almost as if I don't really know what the vision was, but it's almost as if he turned around and said that he wanted it to be rock, but then also R&B. So he was almost like serenading us with a band for Candy Shop. And
Yeah,
it was
so
like,
yeah, no,
it was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was like, and it was like boom, and he'd be like, I don't know what, like real angry, like yeah, cool, angry, but I'm still.
Oh, like he's trying to go
Now
like
he
that
was like,
rock star
now he was
growl
like,
kind of.
I don't know what you heard about me. Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
slow, and I
ain't
was
trying
like,
to hear that. I would have
I'm
been,
s-
I would have been disappointed by
I
that.
was stood
Like,
there, bro, and I was like,
what I liked.
I waited till 11
Yeah,
p.m.
yeah,
for
yeah.
this,
Like, yeah, what I liked about his performance at the O2 was it was just straight rapping, the beats. There might have been like live instrumentation, but it was still sticking to what the beat was, not trying to like
Yeah.
create little solos in between or little
And it's
breaks.
just, oh,
and like
mate.
it was like a nostalgia flashback for me when I watched him perform that. And like I feel like he was in the zone for that because I feel like he lost his way maybe because I remember him seeing him post like last year about Drake and like his performances and like I remember him posting like I think Drake got thrown a bra on stage. He's like, I don't get thrown no bras on stage. And I think it kind of like snapped him into gear a bit. And I remember when he did the Super Bowl, he performed at the Super Bowl a couple years ago, I think it was whenever Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and that were there and Eminem, they all brought them all on. Like,
Yeah,
a brief
yeah.
moment. I remember people mocked him for his weight at the time because he looked a bit bigger. And I noticed like for this tour, he obviously got way back in shape again.
He is like,
looked
what
real
is he, like,
healthy.
breaching 50 now.
Yeah, he must be in his 40s
God,
or at least
yeah,
something like that.
so
Yeah.
he's gonna get big.
Yeah, but like now he's like proper back in it. But then that's one thing. Like in his prime, he really was big and muscular. Like he was a physical presence.
Well, yeah, he had.
But
Well,
like
that was
yeah,
the whole part
thing,
of it,
innit?
wasn't it?
Like, but
Like the bulletproof vest and no top and that.
And like that whole era though, I love because like I saw a clip of it again the other day. Like at one of the award shows, a bunch of people that he had beef with was in the crowd, and he was performing a song, and then he just stopped singing, and he just walked down across the front, like where everyone was seated, and was just like walking past, like looking at all the people that they like, and it's that type of thing, it's that aura where
I
it's
like
like
that stuff,
they were on smoke back then.
Yeah,
Like
and it
the
was
type of-
true beef.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It orchestrated.
That's the thing, like the Kendrick Cole stuff, and this is why Cole backed down, really, because it's not real.
Did he back down though?
He said it. He said
Yeah,
he
I don't think
apologized.
back down. I think it was just respect.
But yeah, that's the thing, like, because
He stopped his tour. He stopped his show.
show
didn't he?
just
Yeah.
to talk, and it's like that's friendly sparring. That's what all that would ever have been because they like each other.
But
Whereas
it's also
back in
like that's good as well.
'Cause
Like,
it's-
those kind of things good because that does hone you.
Yeah.
On your skills. Like when you're making music and you're making good music, people that can't rap are always gonna like stuff you make if you could rap.
Yeah.
But people that can rap, when you go against them,
Mm.
like it's really good. Like I feel like that was a really big pivot point for Machine Gun Kelly when he went for Eminem.
Mm.
Like you're already stupid enough to go for one of the greatest rappers of all time, but not only do you go for him, you go for him what like 3 times, and
Yeah.
then his daughter.
And I think from
But
what I
like-
remember back then, I thought one of those songs he dropped at least was pretty decent.
There was the one called he literally called it. I'm almost sure he called it like Rap God or something.
Yeah,
It was like, and it
Rap
was like,
Devil,
it
Rap
was like,
Devil.
yeah, Rap Devil. And it was like somebody grabbing some clippers.
Yeah.
His freaking beard is weird. Like it was.
but then that's
I
the
really
thing.
like that song. But then Eminem did absolutely obliterate
Slaughter
him
him.
the next day.
But then my problem with Eminem, where I say his legacy's tainted, is that he's now being remembered for that.
That's good though. It's good. Like the thing,
Sandwiches.
Yeah, but
Sandwiches. I put it in the pan with sandwiches.
I think it's brilliant. Like, the thing is with Eminem, like where I think a lot of artists that stand out, they come through into certain genres and they do feats of stuff. So like what we were speaking about with Chris Brown, he's got his like he's one of the very best at like a singing. They call it bodying, don't they? So like a sing and a rap,
Yeah.
all in the same song. He's the very best. He's one of the very best at that.
And you cannot deny his talent either. Like he can do that and then dance.
But
on
then
top
like
of it.
Eminem, like Eminem came along and he was just chilling in his house or whatever on his Naughty track, fine, whatever. He wasn't going to go at Machine Gun Kelly, and then Machine Gun Kelly went for his daughter. You got to defend your family straight away. But then like not only did he do that, inside the song that he beat Machine Gun Kelly, he actually beat the world record for most lyrics
in like a
verse.
certain amount of time.
So like
yeah.
he is one of the best. And like the only thing I would say is that someone like Luda and Busta Rhymes, when they rap fast, you do have to concentrate to understand what they're saying. Whereas when Eminem raps fast, you don't have to do it. You know
I
what
feel
he's
like he
saying.
does rap
There's actually another one, but like so he did the. I'm not sure if it was Rap God, then the diss track to Machine Gun Kelly, and then there's a song that he did with was it it's either Tentacion or the one that done Lucid Dreams. What's his name?
Oh, Juice WRLD.
It was either Juice WRLD or Tentacion.
I feel like
think
it's
it was
Juice,
Juice WRLD, and
yeah.
it was called like Godzilla.
Yeah, that's
And then he beat it again. So like he beat his record 3 times in the space of like.
So I think his talent as a rapper, I don't think can be disputed. I just think the legacy and what I feel like he could have just handled the back end of his career.
I want him
better.
to come back and do it
But
again. I want someone
apparently,
else
he
to
is
send for
dropping
him.
an album this year. Apparently,
I want someone to send for him again. Like I might send for him. But what I'll do is in the song I'll only send for his family members. Not even him.
Just bring him out the
Yeah.
But then since you mentioned Busta and Luda, actually, this is like turning into a debate on the rappers in general. I think both of them are two of the most underrated or underappreciated rappers. Like they're like in that, not the greatest of all time, but they're in that rap greats discussion. But I don't think they're always, especially Ludacris, because I feel like because he's so like cartoony at times and very like larger than life. Like, I think people would like sometimes forget, but no, his actual rapping ability, whether it's the speed, the lyricism, and then that charisma and like personality and uniqueness, I think Luda's got all of that. And I think because him like kind of like 50 Cent kind of slowed down with the music and then started doing Fast and Furious, people there's a whole generation that see Luda as an actor.
I don't know,
but it's like
I don't know if I agree with that. I think the problem, it's not a problem, but when you get known for doing something really well, like rapping or making music, then you go and do something even better. Like I actually prefer Luda as an actor than I do as an artist, and I think a lot of people do. You got to think he did go to one of the biggest action franchises.
But I mean, I don't dislike him. Like I've always loved Tej in Fast and Furious. I remember like Too Fast, Too Furious was one of my favorite films when I was younger, and like he was always good in those.
I feel like his character, even the character he portrayed himself to be in music, just fits the TV better. It fits films better. Like that.
But I think the reason why I love his music, and from when I was younger, he was one of those artists that always stood out. Was the music videos are always very creative. He reminds me of what I would never put them in the same lane because I think Ludacris is way better than him. But I feel like DaBaby started doing what Ludacris used to do, where you get them really whimsical videos where you might have him with there's a music video I think
hanging out a car or like
with Luda where he's got the massive hands and the massive feet and he's like and like but then the rapping. Because if you were to look at that on its own, you'd be like, oh, this person, you can't take them seriously. They're kind of a comedic. But
he was good.
But he was really good. And the music actually was good. And it was hits. And it was like, and one of my favorite like feature verses, and I always listen to this song every now and again, just for his part, is the Sierra song. I think it's called O. No, it's O. It's not 1 2 step. O. And he's got a verse on that where I just love his flow on that. And like, I think Luda's been he's got such a good flow.
He is very,
and like character.
He actually, out of that like old school hip hop era, that Potion was actually one of my favorites.
Oh, I love that. That was on Step Up as well.
Because he was in Step Up, wasn't he? It's like Step Up 2, wasn't it, with Channing Tatum?
Yeah, he was either in the film or it was just on the soundtrack. But yeah, I just love that.
No, he's in it, I'm sure.
I don't think he was in the film.
He's the one who gets on the mic at the end on the showdown. I'm almost certain. I actually almost certain at the end where like Moose and that go and do like the battle off is him. He's like the
I'm certain he wasn't, but we're about to find out.
I know, I'm almost certain because I might be wrong. I might be thinking of it wrong.
No, he wasn't in it. That's Step Up.
Yeah, it was him.
No, he wasn't in it.
Which one? Wait, what?
Step Up 2 was 2008. He's not in it.
How do you know that?
Because it would have been there.
No, but how do you know it's 2008?
Oh, because of my memory. Oh. Step Up 2.
Because but do you know sometimes when they don't get credited for stuff because they're not in it for that long?
No, but he would have been credited on that.
At the end, I'm almost certain it's him, and he gets on the stage and goes, "Oh, ever," like.
Maybe you're thinking of the music. Was there a music video?
No, there's a guy, like Channing Tatum's in it, and he does that weird dance where he uses a trampoline that comes out the floor, and it's him that instigates it. He gets on the mic, he goes, "Oh, I didn't realise Channing was in here."
There's no photo evidence on Google Images. I've typed in Step Up 2 Ludacris, and it's come up with this dude who ain't Ludacris.
Maybe that is it. That looks like him.
That ain't Ludacris.
that looks like him a bit. Come on,
that's probably why you
give it that. And I think it sounds like him as well. I don't know, but to be fair, I haven't watched that movie for about 10 years.
Oh, well, that's
that song, like
yeah, I love the beat on that.
Yeah, I actually use that for a lot of remixes in the club because it's so good.
Yeah, that is. I feel like we've that's one full episode. We're gonna continue this. There's a lot to this, so I feel like we'll continue this discussion.
Well, let us know if you want us to come back to it, and we can keep going. But
for the topics we've discussed, share your thoughts. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. So like Kendrick versus Cole, what's your thoughts on that? What else did we talk about? Auto-tune. Your thoughts on the discussion of auto-tune?
Kendrick versus Cole, auto-tune. Giving credit to ghostwriters.
Yeah, and songwriters and stuff like that. And what's your thoughts on
whether Chris Brown is trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. But
and let us know if you want us to come back and continue speaking about stuff like this, or because at the moment we are still in the stage are sort of exploring stage with the podcast as to what we want the podcast to be.
And what people want to see.
Yeah.
So we're like very receptive to just
we
want to.
we obviously
see.
are gravitating a lot towards music at the moment. But if you feel like you preferred it when we spoke about stuff that wasn't music, then let us know. But yeah.
That's this episode. Catch you in the next one.
Peace out. Oh, mate, my ass.
That feels like that was like probably like almost.